Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now August 18th of 2023. There's a lot of things going on right now over at Disney. Everything ranging from all of the cancellations over for Marvel, Star Wars, and just Disney in general, and how D23, the massive event that is still on for early September, is going to have far fewer announcements than the norm. You know, of course, every D23 there's always a lot of movie announcements, TV show announcements, full-on slates of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and even Star Wars to be unveiled. That's all going to be extremely minimized this year due to Bob Iger's cost containment plan. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, one thing about Snow White 2024 right now is that we know that Bob Iger and the board are desperately setting up a sequel. We've talked about this. They're really trying to at least get another Snow White movie out there to really explore a different angle of this story. Now, we already discussed how their plans for a cinematic universe fell apart into pieces. They were going to have two prequel movies that were going to focus on the Evil Queen and the Seven Dwarfs, both of which having their own spin-off movies that take place before the 2024 film. Now, one major update and development that has to do with actress Gal Gadot has a lot to do with the fact of what happened with her role as the Evil Queen. Let's get into all of this. Now, as you are all very well aware, this movie is a very big mess, including any follow-up film or any other Snow White project in general that has been just endlessly putting Disney into more trouble and issues at hand. Now that brings us to what's going on here. So with Snow White 24 going through many complications to this day, both Bob Iger and the board have been heading into endless damage control. Now, one major development has to do with actress Gal Gadot getting recast for a Snow White project that is still in development by Disney. After rising issues took place between both Gal and Disney, she made the ultimate decision to speak up against Disney about the ongoing plans for a Snow White sequel after leaving the prequel film that would focus entirely on the Evil Queen. In a shocking turn of events, these conflicts led to Disney letting go of Gal Gadot from the show, of course, from the actual movie, I should say, for Snow White sequel, as the Evil Queen, as they now have plans to recast and replace her with a different actress as they seek new plans for the sequel to the Snow White 24 film. Now, the original plan was to create Snow White into a cinematic universe, much like I said before, that would actually focus on the origin tales of the Evil Queen, as well as the Seven Dwarfs. They wanted to make it something very much similar to Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, etc., etc. But those plans quickly fell apart. The only other projects now that remain is the sequel. Gal was set to return in flashbacks, and Disney even brainstormed ideas via director Mark Webb for how she would be, of course, able to return by getting resurrected, quite possibly, to return and face Snow White once more. Now, though Gal was recently replaced and set to get recast for the follow-up film that Disney plans to announce at this year's final earnings call for 2023 still, it is also causing more problems for Disney as they are finding a hard time for displaying the right actress to portray the return of the Evil Queen again, as they are looking for a recognizable actress that would want to be affiliated with the film. Now let me just pause here for a second before I get to the next major piece about all of this, and this is where things get even more involved. Now, we know that Gal walked away from the Evil Queen prequel movie. It really kind of destroyed Disney's whole plan in the making that led to further cancellations. So, to an extent, Gal really just bulldozed Disney's initial plans for the Snow White universe, so to speak, where they wanted to make it into a multi-movie, system or a franchise, whatever have you. And as of now, as we just said before, there's only Snow White 2024 and this new sequel that they are still planning to announce at the last earnings call for this year, alright, for 2023. We should be, I believe, getting that in November. Correct me if I'm wrong. It should be within that month. So keep your eyes open for that. But they want to do the same exact thing with The Little Mermaid. They also want to explore a sequel with that film exploring the daughter of the Little Mermaid. kind of following the same storyline as the sequel to the animated movie, decades ago. Now that brings us to what's going on with Gal right now. So this really is an interesting turn of events. The fact that not only was Gal replaced as the evil queen from the next, of course, Snow White film, from the follow-up, and how she's going to get recast, and how somebody else is going to play her. The sequel sounds like a big mess. It sounds so unorganized. We talked about how things are just all over the place for this new film, and how they really just want to kind of borrow elements from the Happily Ever After film and different iterations of Snow White and throwing it all into one movie. It's just not going to work. And even for the current film that's about to release next year so far, that's not looking good either, because they borrowed a lot of elements from Snow White and the Huntsman, and they even kind of mixed it in with other iterations of Snow White. So they're doing basically the same thing here as follows. Now, moving to the next, actress Olivia Wilde, who did photo shoots as the evil queen for Disney World, already was considered quickly and has held discussions with Disney about all of that. And though conversations were short, they are trying to build the sequel as fast as they can. The 2024 Snow White film is already getting ready for a massive re-edit, with potential reshoots on the way if the strikes end earlier than expected. So just to be clear, Gal is still in the 24 film, but she is being replaced from the sequel and getting recast, hence giving her the boot from the sequel or the follow-up to Snow White 24. That just makes me realize, why are they even going through with this movie? We even know that the son of the director of the original Snow White recently came out and blasted Disney. We'll talk about that a little bit later. This is a very interesting story where he even said that Disney's way too radical with their thoughts, that they're making too many woke things right now, and the list goes on and on and on. And I think at the end of the day, they're not going to make this sequel. It can be in development as long as it wants to be. I think that this is the same exact thing as Kathleen Kennedy dealing with the Indiana Jones 5 sequel that's currently in development right now. Yes, it is. But I don't believe it's going to go anywhere past it being in development. And I've said this many times, in development is a very important word to understand. That can mean anything ranging from brainstorming to having discussions and conversations, or just having it on a board as a possibility of moving forward, that it's in there as an idea. And that's what development means. It means they're setting things up, they're brainstorming, they're trying to get the movie together before a script is even made, before any writers are even hired, mind you. And so that's why I think that this sequel is just not going to make it. Especially if the current film comes to a big failure, we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, Gal got the boot from Disney. They don't want anything to do with her. They want a full-on recast. And they have considered Olivia Wilde, like I said before, because she did photo shoots as the evil queen for Disney World, alright? So, at the end of the day, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night